that was a nice day. Man, ever since I've been trying to make some changes for myself, things have been really quite nice. I like that. I mean, yesterday, well, actually, I should do my low, my high, my active kindness. My low was the fact that I was kind of hoping to be a little warmer than it was yesterday, but it wound up being like really cold and rainy and otherwise not pleasant at times. It was still good. My high was I got to spend the day with my dad and I got to spend the afternoon with my nephews. That was fantastic. And my act of kindness was I helped my father watch my nephews yesterday. And I mean, to be honest, there's a lot more to my high, and I'll get to that momentarily. Good morning, and happy Monday, everyone. Let's just say I'm really glad there's no One Piece manga chapter today. Even though I was considering the last chapter on a cliffhanger, I kind of wish there was another manga chapter, because I can't wait until the next one comes out at the same time. I wouldn't have any time to talk about this. So, wow, I said that really fast. I would say that the first thing I did was, Peas Macarons had a pop-up at Oldies But Goodies, and I'll be honest, in my entire life, I've probably been I've been near Oldies But Goodies because I used to, do youth soccer in those soccer fields that right across the street from it. But in terms of being like on the property, even being inside, it's probably like a handful of times. So yesterday was the first time I legit went to Oldies But Goodies proper. And okay, I can see why the owner of Peas Macarons really loves that place, because I legit could get lost in there. Not that because it's a big place, although it really does look it really does feel a lot bigger on the inside than the outside. It's just, there's so much cool stuff. Like every other thing I look at, I'm just completely starstruck at what I'm seeing. It's like really cool. They, there's like antique furniture. There's, original pieces and designs and, tables and, kitchen stuff and, draperies and, toys. Oh my gosh. There's a lot of antique toys up at Oldies But Goodies. I mean, kids don't, not that I actually play with these toys, but they're meant to be looked at and not played with. If you want to play with them, you buy them. I even saw like a few like limited edition Barbie dolls too. That was really cool actually. Like, they're both like holiday themed Barbie dolls and they're only like $20 each. I'm like, okay, there's no way those things are worth $20. Because they're like, one's from 1991 and the other one's from like 1992. I'm like, okay, 30 plus years old, someone's going to collect that and they're going to make like a fortune at some point. Because they were still in the box. That's just how some nerds like that. It's funny, like, no one ever told me that I was supposed to like collect my toys, not to play with them, but to save them so when I want to sell them, like, they could be worth a lot. Personally, I'm just like, okay, I have a toy. I would like to play with it, please. So that was awesome. Then I got to, spend the afternoon with my dad, watch a little bit of college basketball. And we got to see my nephews. It was awesome. We walked down to my grandparents' place. They got to see their great-grandparents. That was fun. And easily the best time of that whole afternoon was because my father will let them play in his truck. And, they're having fun. And I forget what. Actually, I remember what happened. Because Miles is standing, like, on the seat. and Pax like falls like right here. And I'm like, and then that just made both of my nephews laugh. And it's that like it's literally that cute little baby laugh that you hear sometimes. And man, that was just so precious. It was. Like that alone made my day. Anyway, after that, my father and I got the subs from an ears, and got to see my mom for a little bit, and yeah, then we got here, and that's cool. Which is good because Totally Not Mark did another Naruto video, and I have to talk about that particular part, as you guys all will know, I did watch Naruto growing up. I read the manga around the time I was in college, and specifically this part of the manga, I'll never forget what was going on, because around that time, I was preparing for my sophomore year of college. And remember how I told you, like, I was not a very good student? Like, by the end of my second semester of college, I was struggling a lot. So, I was taking like some classes, to get credits for my major, because I was taking chemistry during this time, during that summer. And I will never forget, like, reading this particular part of the manga as it was being released. And if you've ever read Naruto, then you know that this part of the story, it's pretty much the war from here on out. Whether it's before or right before, which is what this part particularly was, during, and, even a little bit after. Well, I really shouldn't say after per se, because after the war, there's only like 6 chapters left. And they're kind of meant to be saved as their own part for a very special reason. So, needless to say, when I saw Totally Not Mark's video, the title was The Fourth Shinobi War, Part 1. I'm like, all you did was like the preparation and like the first couple of confrontations. And for frame of reference, chapter 484 is when this particular part of the manga began, and this particular part of the manga ended, at least at this part that he went over, at chapter 520. Which you would think, that's a pretty decent sum, 36 chapters. Roughly a year's worth of content. Here's the thing, though. Naruto overall has 700 chapters. And I just mentioned that the war is like all of the rest of the story, pretty much. And I mentioned the final 6 are a very special part, the save for the very end. So, from chapter 520 to 694. Yeah, this was a very interesting time reading it. In fact, spoiler alert, during this particular time in real life, as the manga was being published, I had finished my sophomore, junior, and senior years of college, thus graduating from college, ran my first half marathon, ran my first full marathon, not witnessed, but learned that my brother had gotten engaged to be married. So, yeah. This was a lot. From now until the end of the story, that was everything that happened in my life at that point. And I remember reading it all. But let's talk about this particular part, because I mentioned that it's essentially preparations and the first couple of confrontations. So, naturally, when Madara talked about his plan to use the infinite Tsukuyomi to put everyone in essentially, a trance. He talked about how he has 7 of the 9-tailed beasts at his side. And, it takes quite a lot of effort from one village just to bring down one. So, as you can imagine, the only way you're going to stop Madara is if you have an army of your own. Well, between the village hidden in the leaf, the sand, the stone, the mist, and the clouds, that's 5 armies combined. Now, for many years, obviously these villages were separated because of war and, stuff like that. But when they all had a common enemy in the Akatsuki, and essentially Madara Uchiha, and they know that they have to unite or else the world will be in ruin, you have, the allied Shinobi forces, which altogether brings up 80,000, soldiers, if you will. A lot of those soldiers was their first time being ever in a war. Like, a lot of these soldiers were like in their mid-teens, mid to late teens, like, 15, 16, 17 years old. So, as you can imagine, this was big. And obviously, after so many years of the villages fighting amongst each other, there's no way they're going to get along right away. And then came one of my absolute favorite parts of Naruto ever. And that's when Gaara, the 5th Kazekage, and one of the originally an antagonist in this story, he made a speech. And he talked about how, for all these years that these villages have been fighting, it was from that conflict I was born. Because Gaara was originally born to be a weapon. Remember, he was a Jinchuriki. And because of so many times, people tried to kill him, he didn't think he'd be loved. He didn't think he'd find any friends. He didn't think he'd be happy. And it was Naruto who, brought him out of it. When Naruto said, you and I are a lot alike. I know what it's like to hurt like you do. Because, again, Naruto and Gaara were both Jinchurikis. So, when Naruto says he knows what Gaara's going through, he meant it. And literally one of my favorite lines that Gaara says in this speech is, he was my enemy. He was my enemy, and he wept for me. That's powerful stuff. And the speech ended with, if you still have, any transgressions amongst each other after this war is over, I'll be more than happy to take you on. But when it comes to saving, my friend, and by extension the world, those who feel as I do, follow me. And everyone's cheering. Like, Gaara legit became a man, Like, it was great. And then there's the whole preparation with, like, Naruto meeting Killer Bee and Guy fighting Kisame, which, okay, like, outside of Gaara, Rock Lee and Guy should have they actually do have their own spin-off manga. It's actually really cool. But, semantics. Guy versus Kisame, that was a fantastic fight. So, you think with an allied Shinobi force of 80,000, that's pretty big. So, the tailed beasts don't stand a chance, right? Well, here's the thing. Kabuto shows up to Madara, and because he was Orochimaru's pupil, he knows it's called the Impure World Resurrection Jutsu. Basically, if you have if you sacrifice one life, you can bring another person back from the dead, taking over that original human life's body. So Kabuto has literally the power to bring back a lot of the previous Kage, a lot of the great ninjas of the past, you know, the original, you know, Jinchuriki. Like, okay, so how are you going to get the live bodies? Well, believe it or not, Madara has cultivated 100,000 white Zetsus. So basically, it's an army of 100,000 versus 80,000. All of a sudden, the odds of the Allied Shinobi forces, they are going to have an uphill battle to climb. Let's just say the story gets a lot better from here. I just have to say, like, and I remember reading this too. I'm like, wait, this is literally a war between the living and the dead. This is really a war between the living and the dead. Is this the Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go series finale that we should have gotten? Only this won't end on a cliffhanger? Spoiler, Naruto does not end on a cliffhanger. So there you go. Like, favorite, chat, the subscribe button, follow me on social media, YouTube. I am very hungry. This video for all of you guys who are watching. Enjoy for today. Hopefully you have a wonderful, wonderful Monday. Remember, you're going to talk to me to be here to land. Always be back. Take care and make good choices. See ya.